There we go.
Good morning. My name is Bill Hawkins, and I'm here with AARP Alabama's Mindful Movement. We're going to be joined today by Becca is going to give us a great presentation. But before we do that, let me show you a couple of things. AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c3 organization that has more than 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate for those 50 plus and their families. Now, Becca, what are we going to do today?
Well, hey there, Bill. I'm here for our yoga session that we do every other Tuesday. So today we are going to do some sun salutations, which is a kind of a classic sequence in the yoga tradition, and it's a great thing to do around the equinox. I always feel like that's a nice kind of pairing. We just had the fall equinox a few days ago, so we're going to do sun salutations. I'm going to be giving you some choices on how you might do your own version.
Well, great. Well, I'm turning it over to you, Becca. But before I do that, let me remind everybody about being sure you check with the physician and making sure that you're able to do this program. Okay, Becca, coming back to you. And there we go. Looking forward to it.
All right, here we go. All right, so like I said, we do these sun salutations periodically, and sometimes we do them even when they're not the focus, but we're going to do a little warm up in the chair. So, you know, have a seat in a good, hard back, straight back chair, preferably without any arms. And then we're actually going to use the chair for one of the versions of the sun salutations. I'll be actually also showing you how you might do your sun salutation at a wall, or do your sun salutation going all the way up and down from the floor. So you're going to have a couple different options and choices for how you might want to do it. And it's really not a matter of, if you're unable to do the sun salutation on the floor, then you have to do the one on the wall or the chair. I love doing the sun salutation on the chair, even though I can do it down to the floor. It's more convenient sometimes as a way to get my body moving because I don't have to get all the way down on the floor. I can just use whatever chair is available. Same with the wall. I do portions of that on the wall often. So don't look at it as this is the choice that I have to take. Just explore the options that make sense for you and see what you think of them. All right, so let's sit tall in the chair. We're going to do just a couple of breaths to get ourselves centered and in our body with our mindfulness here, and a little bit of warming up for the body in general before we move into those sun salutations. So sit tall, try to have your feet on the floor. You can be shoes and socks or bare feet. It doesn't matter, whatever's more comfortable for you. Try not to be in loose sandals, something that is solid on your feet if you are wearing shoes. All right, drop your arms down to your sides. Go ahead and just open up your hands, sit a little taller all the way through the crown of the head. Feel free to close your eyes here if you'd like. And then on that next inhale, sweep the arms as high as you want to take them, maybe all the way overhead. And then exhale, push them back down to your sides. All right, so big breath in through the nose. Exhale could be through the nose or through the mouth. A couple more breaths. Two more. Last one. All right, now with those arms at your sides, go ahead and let's loosen up. Turn the head right and left. Make all your movements, adjusted to you, right? So if something feels tight or, just painful to move, then I want you to back off, right? A lot of times that tightness or soreness that you might feel initially will ease up as you take your movements gently, forward. All right, now let's bring that chin down to the chest and then roll the head up onto one shoulder, roll it forward, and then roll it up onto the other shoulder. And just go side to side. Good. Bring it back to center. Lift the head up. Now let's move on down to the shoulders and the shoulder blades. Let's get some rolling going. Shoulders forward and up towards the ears and then back and down. Good. 2 more. Good. Now let's bring our awareness down to our pelvis, and I want you to do some rocking on the pelvis. Roll back, roll forward. Try to start to get some awareness of your low back there and your hips. Again, these movements can be big or small. If you want to make them a little bigger, you might add a push and a pull and get a little more of the upper back, the rib cage and the chest moving as well. Arching as you pull the arms back, rounding as you roll back onto the buttocks and you push the hands forward. A couple more of these. Good, last one. Good. All right, arms down at your side. Now let's do a little more spinal loosening. So side stretch over to one side, back to center. Other way, stretch up and over. And back to the center. If this arm all the way overhead doesn't work so well for you, feel free to take that hand sort of to the top of your head or the side of your head, or even, let it just come up to the heart. Last one, each direction. All right, now let's warm up the legs a little bit. So sit tall, maybe hold on to the chair if you want a little more support, and let's march. We're going to pick that knee up as high as you can without leaning back or rolling back onto your pelvis, right? So he's going to stay right on top of those sitting bones in the buttocks there for this one. Good, now let's go out and back in. Try to get a little more movement, a little more loosening for those hips. All right, one more. All right, and then let's loosen up the knee and the ankle. So bend and straighten at one knee a few times. Good, keep that foot forward now, point and flex. Go ahead and give it a couple circles. Go the other way. Good, and then the other leg, bend and straighten, loosen up that knee joint. Good, keep that foot forward, point and flex. And circle. You can go the other direction. All right. Okay, so now it's time. We're warmed up. We're going to begin those sun salutations. I'm going to do the first one on the wall, okay? So again, this can be a great thing to just sneak into, your day here and there. Say you're traveling and you feel like you need to stretch out a little bit. Any piece or portion of this sequence, you can do it by itself. You don't have to do the whole thing. All right, so if we want to do this at the wall, you stand just in front of the wall. Take a moment to, just stand up tall. And then take a nice reach or lift up and then fold forward. And you can go as far down the wall as you want, right? Maybe you stay just right here. This is a great one to do if you don't want to get your head too far down, okay? And then just take a few breaths here. And then lift up through that chest. And then fold it back down, pushing the hips back. And then step forward with one foot. Push the back heel down to the ground, lift up through the chest, option to raise the arms or to keep them on the wall. And then we'll step it back again. We kind of consider this our downward dog on the wall. Maybe move those knees a little bit back and forth. And then let's shift forward, just shifting the weight forward. Getting that plank-like position. So it's like I'm in a push-up, but I'm on the wall. And then I'll push back into that downward dog and step the other foot forward. So I'm taking that lunge the other side. Maybe lift the arms up. Maybe keep them there. And then let's come back to hands on the wall. Come back to that fold. Again, maybe you take it a little further down. Maybe not. And then shift that weight back, kind of push off the wall, sit into your chair pose, so your hips back, knees bent, arms out, and then rise all the way up tall. And then bring the hands back to the heart. All right, so great. So that's what it looks like on the wall. Of course, there's lots of ways you could vary it or do things a little bit differently. There's no, hard and fast rules to these sequences. And again, if you wanted to just do a portion of that, you could. Now let's do it to the chair. All right, so chair takes us a little bit lower down. Okay, we're going to be, just a little closer to horizontal in some of those positions. So stand a little bit away from the chair. Chair needs to be, on a solid surface, not going to slide. All right, inhale and reach up. And then soften those knees and fold, taking those hands to the chair. Or sometimes, maybe you do some of it to the floor, even though we've got the chair as our main support today, or for this version. Let's lift back up, kind of a flat back lifting. And then soften the knees and fold it down. And then we'll step one leg back. One leg is closer to the chair, so we're back into that lunge position. So again, you could stay hands down on the seat of the chair, or you could decide to bring the arms up. If that doesn't feel too stable, maybe you try just bringing one arm up. Good. And then let's step it back. We're going to step both feet back from the chair. We're pushing those hips back and lengthening out the arms, the spine. This is that downward dog. So on the wall, we were a little bit more, horizontal or a little higher with our hands and our head and our shoulders. This gives us a little deeper stretch typically. All right, now we shift forward. We try that plank pose on the chair. So get into what looks like, the top of a push-up. Keep those arms nice and strong. Body nice and firm, so we're not sagging or bending or sinking anywhere. All right, now press it back again. Back to that downward facing dog. And then we'll step the other foot forward. So whichever one wasn't forward a moment ago. So stepping into that lunge on the other side. Now your stance here could be shorter or longer, depending. Again, option to come up. So maybe bring one or both arms out of the chair. And they don't have to go overhead. Maybe you bring them up, keep them at the heart, or pull them back. All right, and then come back to the chair with the hands, step it back in. We'll do that lift, flatten the back, straighten the knees as much as you can, and then soften the knees, fold the back down, soften the elbows, and then sit back into your chair pose. Get your, self-balance, feel the strength of your legs, maybe bring the arms out, or feel free to keep them closer to the chest. And then rise up all the way tall, stretch for the ceiling. And then exhale, bring those hands down. Now go ahead and just pause. See if you notice, if you tried the wall with me and then you tried this, you may notice, a little more work with this one, okay? Still great stretches from the wall. I'm gonna do the third version to the floor. Now, if you wanna stick with the chair, you just follow along and you'll do hands on the chair instead of hands on the floor. All right, and then we'll probably have time to do one more and you'll be able to choose what version you want to do. You can always choose which version you want to do though. Okay, so here we go. Standing tall, inhale, reach up. Yeah, it's always nice to bend those knees as you fold it down. Again, maybe you go to the chair, maybe you drop towards the floor. And then we lift halfway up. So hands either up on the shins, the knees, the thighs, or on the chair. And then fold it back down. All right, so hands on the chair or hands on the floor. We're going to step one leg back. So we're taking it into that lunge. So if you're here on the floor, you do have another option that you can utilize. You could put your knee down, okay? So either way, knee up or knee down. Hands can stay down or hands can come up. They can come to any of those positions I mentioned. All right, and then we come back down, get those hands on the chair or on the floor, and step it back for that downward facing dog. So that's a good push with the arms, hips up and back. It's okay for the knees to be bent. You might try straightening them, but it's okay either way. They can be straight or they can stay bent. All right, here comes our push-up. So shifting into plank. Again, if you're on the floor, you've got this option where you can put your knees down. All right. Still a little more challenging than being on the chair. Certainly if you stay on your toes, it's a little more challenging. And then let's push it back to downward dog. And then we got to step the other foot forward. This is the hardest part of the sun salutation on the floor, in my opinion. So sometimes it's kind of hard to get that foot all the way. Feel free to go to hands and knees. And then get the foot forward. Again, your knee can be up, your knee can be down. Maybe your hands stay down, maybe they come up. This is true whether you're on the chair, the wall, or the floor. All right. And then we want to bring the hands back down. We're going to step the back foot in, step the front leg back a little bit. And do that fold, either to the chair or all the way down to the floor. And then sit back. Let the knees bend, the weight drop back. You can walk the hands up. Remember, you can bring the arms out or overhead, or you could keep them closer to the body. All right, and then push through the feet and rise up tall. Maybe there's a little arch at the top of that. And then bring the hands back into the heart. All right, pause, take a breath, check in. What do you notice in your body? Do you feel yourself a little warmer? Are you, did you break a sweat? Do you feel the work of some of the muscles in your arms and your legs? All right, so as I said, we have time for at least one more sun salutation. So I'm going to go back to the chair version and do that one. And again, you could choose to do yours on the wall or do yours to the floor or come along at the chair. So stand tall. With that next breath, reach up. Fold it down. Lift back up. Maybe straighten those knees if you can. And then fold it down. Step one foot forward. One leg back. And see how you feel with your stance. Again, option to come up with the arms. I'm going to take them overhead. They could stay lower, however. Good, and release. Let's step it back to that downward facing dog. So hips press back, arms and spine get long. Maybe a little movement here. Let one knee bend and one knee straighten. Go back and forth. Here comes that plank. So shift forward. The shoulders, close to over your wrists. They don't have to be exactly. Body in a nice straight line. So knees straight and hips lifted. Unless you're down on your knees, you can do the plank on the knees if you're on the floor. Good, and then let's press it back again. Good, step the other foot forward for that lunge on the other side. Maybe bring those arms up. And then hands back down, step it in. Back to flat back, lift up. And then soften the knees and fold. Sit back into the heels, come up for chair pose. And then rise all the way up tall. And bring the hands back to the heart. Good. Pausing here, checking in. All right, we've still got a little bit of time. So let's do one more round. Your choice where, chair, the wall, the floor. And we may even have time to do a short version of the sun salutation that you stay completely seated. And that can be a great way for us to finish today. All right, so one more round. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift back up. And then fold forward. And then step one foot back, get into that lunge. Maybe bring the arms up. I'm going to pull them back behind this time instead of overhead. Just another option for how you might do that if your arms are coming out of the chair or off of the floor or off of the wall. All right, and then let's come back with the hands down. Press it back into downward facing dog. And here comes that plank pose, shifting forward, getting a good strong push with those arms. And then pressing it back again to transition, stepping forward with the other foot. Remember, if you're on the floor, you might go to hands and knees and then get that foot forward. All right, and let's wrap this one up by stepping back in, flat back, fold it down, and then sit back into chair pose and slowly come up. Hold that posture, that sit for another breath. And then push through the legs and reach all the way up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Pause, give yourself a breath here. Moment to check in. So if you did all of those with me, whatever version, you moved quite a bit. There was a lot of up and down, legs going back and forth, weight on the arms, weight off of the arms. So it's a great sequence for moving the whole body. Now let's go ahead and come back to our seat. And like I said, we're going to actually do just a short and certainly gentler version of it here in the chair. All right, so we start by sitting tall. And then inhale, reach those arms up. And as you exhale, fold forward. You can let your hands come to your thighs or down to the floor, your choice. And then come back up. And then fold forward. And then come back up. Now for the lunge, we have to do a little something different. We turn a little sideways in the chair. And just see how far you can kind of reach that leg back. You're kind of half off the chair, so maybe hold on. Maybe give that reach up through the arms. And then release it. Turn back to center. Now, we can't do a plank here, but I do want you to reach up with those arms and just lean forward. Lengthen out like it was that downward facing dog. And then pull the arms back and down and go the other side. So turn the other direction in the chair. Hold on with one arm. See if you can extend that forward leg back any amount. It may stay, a little more pointed straight down. That's fine too. Maybe reach up through that arm. And then release. Turn it back to the front. One more time, reaching up. And then folding forward. And then coming back up, all the way tall and pause. All right, good work through all those sun salutations. Let's do a couple stretches now, just to stretch some things out before we wrap it up. So let's take one arm across the chest. Try to draw that shoulder down away from the ear. Use the other hand to help gently press that arm across. And just try tipping your head away from that shoulder that you're stretching. And then release. Shake that arm down. Other arm across the chest. Use that other hand to help pull it. Drop that shoulder down. Tilt the head away. And then release. Drop those arms down. Give the wrists a few circles. Circle the other way. We're slowing down, letting that, heart rate come down. And that breathing rate slow down. Let's stretch the legs a little bit. Take 1 foot forward, toes up, heel on the ground, and then just lean into that until you feel some stretch for the backs of the legs. The back of that one leg, rather. Good. And then same thing with the other side. So just extend that knee, straight knee, heel down, toes up, and then any amount leaning into it, and just until you feel some stretch. All right. And then come back up. Now let's stretch the hips. You can cross your, one ankle over to the other shin, or up closer, maybe close to the knee, or maybe all the way up on the thigh. If that leg is pulled in and under, it'll be even more of a stretch. So see what level you want to take it. And then again, sit tall in your spine. You can give it a little lean to get a little more stretch in that hip. All right, switch sides. Again, crossing either low or higher, depending on your hip mobility. Sit tall. Maybe there's going to be room to lean forward. Maybe not. If there's already, if you're already at a place where the hip is kind of at its limit, then you may not have much room for leaning. And that's okay. Just feel some stretch in that outer hip. All right, and then release that. All right, let's roll those shoulders a couple more times. Bring those arms back. See if you can reach back and grab hold of your chair. Lift up through the chest. Get a nice stretch for the fronts of the shoulders and across the chest. And then release. Let's take one more big breath in. Real slow. Exhale. Good. And then just pause, bring the hands together in a gesture of gratitude. Be thankful for your body, thankful for the sun, the changing of the seasons, the end of summer. And thanks always to AARP of Alabama for giving us these opportunities to move mindfully together. We hope you will join us again on Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
Thank you, Becca. That was a great workout. Folks, we'll see you next Tuesday at 10 o'clock on Mindful Movement. Goodbye.
Bye.